They waited. That is the part that most people will miss in this story. Ukraine didn't just destroy the bridge, they sent the strike. Then they waited for Russia to send the repair crews. Then they destroyed those too. A two-stage operation, coordinated between drone pilots hundreds of kilometers away and partisans living inside occupied territory. The bridge near the village of Rozdon on the Crimean Peninsula is gone. The repair equipment sent to fix it is gone, and the railway line connecting Russia's mainland to its most important military platform in the south is silent. This is not a single strike. This is a trap, and Russia walks straight into it. Welcome back. If you've been following this series, you already know the context. 2 days ago, we covered Ukraine shutting down every civilian gas station on Crimea after drone strikes set the Kerch oil depot on fire. Before that, railway traffic on the peninsula had already been suspended. The Kerch bridge was closed to road traffic, fuel was rationed, then cut entirely for civilians. And now this. The railway bridge over the North Crimean Canal near Rozdon was the last functioning rail link in a chain that connects Russia's mainland through the Kerch Bridge to the supply routes feeding the entire southern front. In the span of 72 hours, Ukraine has now hit every major category of Crimea's supply infrastructure: road, sea terminal, fuel depot, and now rail. Not one after another by coincidence, simultaneously, systematically, with increasing precision. Let's go through exactly what happened, because the tactical detail here is more important than the headline. The first attack came in the night of June 21st to 22nd. Medium-range drones struck the bridge directly. The tracks were heavily damaged. Train traffic on that section came to a complete halt. One of the bridge's support pillars collapsed. Then Ukraine did something different from a standard strike operation. They waited. Ukrainian partisan networks embedded inside occupied Crimea observed the arrival of Russian repair vehicles and equipment. The moment those crews moved into position to begin reconstruction, Ukraine struck again. Drones hit the repair machinery and the remaining bridge structure in the same operation, destroying both the target and the recovery effort simultaneously. This is not improvised. This is a deliberate doctrine. Destroy the target, then deny the recovery. Make every piece of infrastructure not just costly to lose, but impossible to rebuild under fire. Think about what this requires. It requires drone pilots on standby, ready to strike on short notice. It requires partisan observers on the ground inside Russian-controlled territory, watching Russian movements in real time and transmitting that intelligence without being detected. And it requires command coordination fast enough to launch a second strike before the repair window closes. That last point deserves emphasis. Resistance networks operating inside Russian-occupied Crimea have existed since 2014. For 12 years, they have documented, observed, and reported. But what this operation demonstrates is that those networks are now directly integrated into active strike coordination. Not just gathering information, but calling in drone strikes in near real time. Ukraine has effectively turned its partisan presence on Crimea into a forward targeting layer that no Russian radar or air defense system can detect or disrupt. And the bridge they hit matters enormously. It is part of the Kerch-Kherson railway line, the backbone rail connection from the Russian mainland, across the Kerch Bridge, through Crimea, and toward the logistics depots that feed the southern front. Ukrainian special forces described it as a dual-purpose artery. In one direction, freight, resources, and military material flowing from Russia through Crimea to frontline units. In the other direction, internal supply keeping Crimea's own military infrastructure functional. Both directions are now cut. Now place this inside the week's full picture, because the cumulative effect is what matters here. Monday, Ukrainian strikes set the Kerch fuel terminal and the Kavkaz port depot on fire. The Kerch Bridge road crossing closes. Crimea's governor orders all civilian fuel sales stopped indefinitely. Tuesday, the North Crimean Canal railway bridge near Rozdon is struck. Train traffic halts, a support pillar collapses. Wednesday, repair crews arrive. Ukraine's partisan network spots them. A second drone wave destroys the repair equipment and what remains of the bridge. In 72 hours, Crimea has lost civilian fuel access, road bridge access, and now its primary functioning rail connection to the Russian mainland. Ukraine's defense minister Fedorov said last week that Crimea will become an island in the near future. That was not a prediction, that was a schedule. And now look at the tactical evolution happening inside this campaign, because it tells you something important about where Ukraine's capabilities have arrived in mid-2026. Earlier in this war, Ukrainian long-range strikes were largely singular events. A depot hit here, a command post there, significant but recoverable. Russia could absorb each strike individually, repair the damage, and root around the loss. What we are watching now is fundamentally different. Ukraine is no longer striking infrastructure. It is striking infrastructure and then denying recovery. The combination of drone standby capacity, partisan intelligence networks operating inside occupied territory, and fast command coordination means Russia cannot simply send repair crews and expect to fix what Ukraine has broken. Every repair attempt becomes another targeting opportunity. This changes the calculus for Russian engineers, logistics planners, and commanders across the entire occupied south. You cannot restore what Ukraine will strike again the moment your crews are in place. You cannot maintain infrastructure under those conditions. You can only route around, delay, or abandon. And routing around is exactly what Russia is running out of room to do. Every detour costs time. Every delay costs ammunition, fuel, and the operational tempo that the Russian command needs. To maintain pressure along a front line that stretches for over 1,000 kilometers, the railway through Rosdoln was not a secondary line, it was a primary artery. There is no clean alternative route. The road bridge is closed, the fuel terminals are burning or depleted, the supply convoys on the M14 highway are being hunted by Azov and Nemesis drone units. Here is where this week's sequence connects back to everything we've tracked over the past month. A banking system under quiet collapse, a central bank chief who has vanished, a war budget that burned through its annual deficit in 4 months. Moscow's largest refinery struck twice, 1/3 of Russia's total refinery capacity now offline. And now, Crimea, the symbol of Russian permanence in the Black Sea, functionally cut off from resupply by land. Russia's military in the south is not facing a crisis in any one of these areas. It is facing a compounding crisis across all of them simultaneously, with no reserves to absorb the pressure and no recovery window that Ukraine is willing to leave open. And the timing of all this matters. These strikes are happening while Russia's central bank is in leadership crisis, while its war budget is already 50% over its annual deficit ceiling, and while its soldiers on the southern front are drawing from supply chains that are now being compressed from multiple directions at once. There is no slack in this system. There is no reserve capacity waiting to be unlocked. Every hit lands on something that was already load-bearing. The bridge near Rosdoln is a perfect model for what this campaign has become. Strike, wait, strike again. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just relentless. And Russia has no answer for relentless. Crimea is not an island yet, but the gap between what it was and what it is becoming closes a little more every night.